There it goes. I see it now. It says the broadcast is live. So that must mean that it's Monday. It's 8 o'clock. And if it's Monday at 8 o'clock, then it's Mighty Monkeys Nerd World News. And I'm your host, Dan Carmen. With me, as always, is my best friend of 37 years, Chris Frank. Nice to see you guys again. Hey, Chris, how you doing over there?
Good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing well. I don't know. I don't think I could ever be that short.
I feel, hey.
Hey.
I don't know if I can be that tall. Come on. What are you talking about? I mean, do you get vertigo from that high? I don't know. I mean,
you know what? I
so much taller than me.
I had a fear of heights. There are times I have an issue looking at my own shoes. So, oh, we have an Elizabeth Rice. We have an Anne, and there is an Andy on board. Greetings, Earthlings.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Grinch. All right. So here's the thing. We really don't have a top story today because on Friday, Disney opened up what we would call essentially a Class 1 nerdgasm and dumped everything into our laps from both of their big mainline universes, the MCU and Star Wars. And there was an announcement. Okay, cool. That's going to be coming out. That was awesome. And then there was another announcement. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So there's a couple of things going on. And then there was another and another and another and another.
It kept going and going and going and going.
What is happening here at the moment? So we're going to spend a little time today chatting with you, and you're going to chat with us. And yes, Elizabeth, Ahsoka has her own series, which I had a hunch that was going to happen. I had a hunch that was going to be a thing. I want to rip through the MCU first. So let's talk about Marvel Studios, because Marvel Studios has a ton going on at the moment with Phase 4 and TV and Disney Plus, and there's just so much going on. So let's start it off right at the top of the list. Secret Invasion. The MCU mainstay Samuel L. Jackson and Captain Marvel's Ben Mendelsohn are returning as Nick Fury and Talos the Skrull for Marvel Studios' original series Secret Invasion. While it currently has no release date yet, it has confirmed the series will stream on Disney Plus. The Secret Invasion comic is infamous for the massive repercussions the storyline took on every nook and cranny of the Marvel 616 universe, which is our prime universe as we know it here. Hey, John, good to see you, man. Hey, Tanya's on board. Okay, just starting that off. That's cool. They kind of hinted at it a little bit at the end of Captain Marvel when you saw that Fury and Talos were kind of hitting it off as buddies. They were gonna be like a bit of a team up there. So now they're going on to a full TV series. Then it just kept on coming. Guys, Ironheart. Who knew that was coming? Ironheart. Riri Williams, who is set to make her live-action debut in Marvel Studios' upcoming Ironheart. If Beale Street Could Talk's Dominique Thorne has been cast in the lead role, and though the series is also slated for Disney Plus, details are currently really scarce. But for those of you who do not know, Riri Williams is a prodigy. At the time of her comic starting, she was like 15, 16 years old, and she was already deep into her studies at MIT. She had downloaded schematics. She had studied the footage. She'd studied YouTube. She'd studied Google. She did all the work, and she put the work in, and she became Iron Man when there was no Iron Man, and we don't have one at the moment. So this is prime opportunity for Riri Williams coming up as Ironheart. That's just freaking huge right there. Tanya says, make sure to send love to your favorite comic shop by picking up the new comics for the week. Going to tap class now. We will miss you. Tap hard. Have fun. Andy's like, can we make it a Hope and Crosby movie? I think Sam and Ben could be hilarious. I agree with you, Andy. They've got that vibe coming in 2 shows because Sam and Ben have that chemistry, but so do Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Holy cow. And that's another one that's on the list because the first trailer of the Falcon and Winter Soldier dropped. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube, look for it. It's awesome. It's amazing. But the next, right after Ironheart came Armor Wars. And that just sent chills down because you've got Ironheart coming, and then it's a War Machine story. So Don Cheadle will also continue the Iron Man legacy as James Rhodes, aka the War Machine or the Iron Patriot, depending on where you are in the timeline. And that will be in an MCU series, Armor Wars, tackling Tony Stark's worst fear of his technology falling into the wrong hands. The series appears to be adapting the 1987 limited comic book run of the same name, in which Tony scrambles around the world looking for the thief responsible for stealing and replicating his Iron Man tech. Remixing the comic book's storyline, it sounds like the presently undated Disney Plus series is shifting Rhodes from a supporting role to a leading role in this adaptation, which is about time, because I know Don Cheadle can carry a series. Don Cheadle can carry a movie. The man has got the chops for it, and I love watching him as Rhodey. We're going to jump over to comments here real quick. Elizabeth Rice goes on, really hoping that maybe we'll get a little more with the Defenders Netflix crew. We're getting to that, absolutely. Now that waiting periods for those characters is starting to be over, and Daredevil is going to be the first up to bat for that one. Mostly Jessica Jones, although she's my favorite, because she's my favorite. Justin Toner says, I think odds are good Daredevil shows up in She-Hulk. I agree with you, although there is a lot of rumor mongering going on that he may make a cameo in Spider-Man 3, which itself, that movie had some huge announcements last week, and we'll be getting to that very, very shortly. So Guardians of the Galaxy is getting a holiday special. With Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 still a ways off in 2023, James Gunn is bringing his gang of misfit heroes back to fans a little early with a holiday special slated for Disney in 2022. Gunn is writing and directing the special, but the rest of the project's cast is currently unknown. Everybody's jumping in on the let's redeem the holiday special fan wagon right now.
Well, they have the Lego one, so so why not this one too?
Yeah, why not? I Am Groot, guys. I Am Groot. Baby Groot will also get more time to shine in a series of new shorts on Disney Plus. There is currently no release dates for these short pieces at this point, but given his involvement in every Guardians movie to date, Vin Diesel will presumably return to voice Baby Groot along a cast of new and unusual characters. So the hits just keep on coming. They just keep on coming. And when you think they've done it up, when you think they've blown their wad, guess what?
Wait, there's more.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania. Ant-Man and the Wasp #3. Quantum Mania, the third Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, is now official. And as I mentioned, the title is Quantum Mania. Peyton Reed is once again directing with Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, Evangeline Lilly, Michelle Pfeiffer, all returning. Additionally, Catherine Newton is taking over the aged-up role of Scott Lang's daughter, Cassie. On the other end, Lovecraft Country's Jonathan Majors is picking up the film's villain role as, brace yourselves, comic book fans, Kang the Conqueror. Kang is coming to the MCU. For those of you who don't know who that is, he is basically a time-traveling extraterrestrial. It's brutal. It's awesome. It's going to be fucking amazing. Okay? A time-traveling tyrant from the distant future. Given the quantum realm's newfound importance in the series and the greater universe at hand, Kang is an especially appropriate villain for this particular piece. And kids, guess what? It doesn't freaking stop there. We talked about it. Spider-Man 3. The rumor mill is huge at the moment, but as we talked about last week, Alfred Molina, Doc Ock. Okay, you've got Tobey Maguire being tied to it. Andrew Garfield being tied to it. But guess what? There's more. I can't remember what I can't find my freaking article for it, but there was a whole bunch of people that were popping up for it. But it was also the rumor that Charlie Cox is going to be doing a cameo as Daredevil to help bring Daredevil into the MCU. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Peter says that he saw the Star Wars Christmas special, did know B. Arthur was in it, and I believe it came out in the 80s. That is correct. And the very much maligned Star Wars holiday special, which we might hint at later, but then again, I want to finish talking about Marvel because there's one more thing that I want to talk. It's a very minor piece, but the MCU was not done with its announcement. They had one more in the chamber ready to go. It's a very small title. It's a very obscure one. Not many people read it before, but it's this little thing called the Fantastic Four. They're back. It's official. They're coming home. They're going to be in the MCU. Capping off the crazy day of announcements from Disney is the first tease of John Watts. He's going to be doing Fantastic Four, the film. Fresh off directing Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and the upcoming 2021 threequel, which we just mentioned a moment ago, Watts is again stepping into the director's chair to helm the MCU's version of Marvel's first family. I'm actually emotional over this. I'm emotional over this because, you know, when you are introduced to comic books as a young person, right, as a young kid, or maybe as a teenager or a college kid, but when you read comic books for the first time, there's a couple of things you just automatically are hooked into. There's Superman, Batman on one side of the fence, Wonder Woman on one side and then on the other side of the fence, it's Spider-Man, it's the Avengers, it's the X-Men, and it's the Fantastic Four. I mean, come on. They were Marvel's first really huge hit in the 60s. Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm. Those names get burned into your head like when you're still single digits in age. I was more well-versed at the Fantastic Four than I was at my homework, and that says a lot about my grades overall. But still, we can talk about that.
Chris.
And Andy goes, let's see if they can do a Fantastic Four movie that's better than The Incredibles. You know what? It's not going to be better than The Incredibles, but it's going to be different, and it's going to be MCU appropriate, I think, at this point. It's going to be what we've needed and what we've wanted, I hope, because I know the MCU does not, they don't cheese things. They really don't. They really put the effort in. The last time that the Fantastic Four graced the silver screen was a couple of years ago with it was a failed reboot. It wasn't a horrible movie, but it wasn't a good movie. And I think the best way to sum it up, I heard this, the best way to sum up the last Fantastic Four movie is it was 100-minute trailer for the movie I wanted to see. Right? It gave you the taste of everything you wanted, but it didn't give you what you wanted. Right? So I don't think it was the cast's fault. I think it was just the writing and the directing, to be honest. Elizabeth Rice goes on to say, when I was still working at Strong Museum, I always laughed each time I went past the Fantastic Four poster with Chris Evans on it. Yeah. There's a certain kind of thing that has to happen there. They missed an opportunity when they had Robert Downey Jr. standing next to Benedict Cumberbatch. Somebody should have looked at the two of them and said, "No shit, Sherlock." Right? And then they just had the two of them give an awkward look to each other and then go back to the scene. They missed that opportunity that was hovering out there. But that was huge. That was just the MCU, kids. That was just the MCU.
That's enough right there. That's crazy right there.
That was just the MCU, and that's the first 13 minutes of the show today. I was like, holy cow!
Yeah.
All right, but wait,
there's
Dan,
more.
There's more.
There's more.
Elizabeth goes on to say, mostly what I remember about the last Fantastic Four was that it threw me for a loop when the first trailer came out and the background music was the Broadchurch theme song. Yeah, I can see how that would be a thing. So real quick, let me pull up the graphic on my computer here. Yep, there's Tanya. Hello, Tanya. She sent a picture of her and Anne in their car. I'm stunned. There are 9 things here to talk about. 9 things, because like I said at the top of the show, there was an announcement, and then there was another. Oh, cool! 2 things.
And it kept going and going.
It just kept going and going.
Yeah, whiplash. I couldn't even process it all.
Right off the bat, let's talk about the ones that we knew were coming. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series is going to be coming out. So Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi is now completely official. It's been confirmed. Everything is in place. We've been talking about that one for a couple of years. Ewan McGregor is on board. It's going to happen. The other one that people were praying for the moment that Rosario Dawson got cast, Star Wars Ahsoka. Okay, so the life and times of Ahsoka Tano, former Padawan of Anakin Skywalker, and voiced so amazingly by excuse me, Ashley Eckstein in the Disney series Clone Wars. Which, Dan, have you ever seen Clone Wars?
Parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
It is a fun watch, and is really interesting how they tailor their stories and the animation, you watch it improve over the course of its 7-season run. And then, of course, you and I have met, Tom Kane, who does the voice of Yoda. He does the voice of the narrator of the series.
Yep.
He's got a couple of other character parts throughout the show, so his voice is very recognizable. He needs to know who his Grand Padawan is, okay? If Ahsoka doesn't show up in the Obi-Wan show, I will be very upset. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, how many crossovers are they doing for some of these shows? Like the Marvel ones, the shows. I mean, how many are there going to be crossovers for these? I mean,
I'm sure there's probably going to be some. You know what? I think, honestly, this season of The Mandalorian has been kind of a backdoor. What's the word I'm looking for? Backdoor pilot for a couple of different series going on right now. I almost expect that you're going to see Carl Weathers and Gina Carano spin off into their own series or join one of the other series. Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic will both tie into The Mandalorian as they take place in the same timeline. Cool. And that brings up one of the first ones I was going to start talking about in depth, Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic. Set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, as Elizabeth said, this new live-action series from executive producer Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will intersect with future stories and culminate in a cinematic story event. So that sounds pretty interesting. What else do we got here? I mean, we got so much to look at right now. I can't anymore. Did I just kill myself again? Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on.
I thought I just accidentally turned off StreamYards again.
Oh no!
Oh, God, I'm getting so frantic about all this stuff going on right now. This is amazing. Some Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars Andor. So there's going to be a whole mini-series based on Cassian Andor, the character from Rogue One. So you're going to see a lot of his actions, missions, and events up to Rogue One. Andy goes on to say Patty Jenkins' announcement was very nice. Yep, and Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84, is going to be behind Star Wars Rogue Squadron. And I thought it was a really cool the way she did the announcement. Dan, I don't know if you saw the video of that or not. No. But she was basically taking off her rollerblades and sitting in the kind of like on the lip of her car, sitting in the trunk of her car, talking about how her dad was in the Air Force. He was a pilot, and the thrill of watching the jets taking off from the base when she was a young girl. And she's talking about how military dogfighting and the Air Force has always been kind of her passion because of her father. And so the fact that she's taking over Rogue Squadron, which is going to be a series basically just about the best pilots in the galaxy going at it with the Imperials. It's staggering to see the volume of what's coming out right now. Star Wars Visions is going to be a short film series. And let's see where I just saw a write-up on it and I forgot where I put it. It's going to be an anthology. It's basically going to be an anthology series from what it's looking like. Its initial release will comprise 10 anime-inspired short films from various Japanese animators. Wow. So it's going to be anime telling Star Wars stories. So that's going to bring a whole new art and storytelling concept to it. Andy goes on talking about Patty mentioning her dad flew F4s. Exactly. Excellent. Absolutely. Very good stuff. Where was I? So you're going to see anime in Star Wars with Star Wars Visions. Star Wars The Acolyte. Let's see what we got here. An official description of it. The Acolyte is mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. Now, the High Republic, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is the era that takes place before the Old Republic. Before the final days of the current Republic that fell into the Empire. So High Republic, Empire, and then New Republic. So that's how it all kind of fits together in that whole time frame. So it's not going to be thousands of years in the past like Star Wars The Old Republic MMO, Knights of the Old Republic video games, things like that. That's still millennia previous. But the High Republic is a couple hundred years before the Republic that fell to the Empire. So we're going to be seeing that. It's going to be a mystery thriller. That's going to be a very interesting take on it. You're going to see Jedi. You're going to see Sith. You're going to see a whole lot of other things going on. You're going to see a bigger dose of the politics, I think, at this point. It's just, can you tell I'm like really just stunned right now? It keeps on coming. What did I miss? Star Wars Acolyte. I think that's also fitting into the High Republic era. So that's going to be a whole slew of other stories. And then rounding off, there's two rounding off the slate for Star Wars. The Lando series, which the first rumor mill I heard about the Lando series is that it's going to be Billy D. Williams talking about his adventures as a young man, and then the young man will be played by Daniel Glover, who played him in the Han Solo movie. Elizabeth Rice bought Fallen Order yesterday because it was on sale, and it came up a lot when I did live stream talking about Star Wars announcements with someone from the Temple of Geek. Let me know how you do. It's a console game, so there's a lot of rapid action, a lot of jumping, a lot of moving, a lot of vertigo involved. I tend to stay away from those in my day. Like I was saying at the top of the show, I have a hard time looking down at my own feet sometimes. I get a little vertigo. So it's like, oh, wow, these console games hurt me after a bit. And then last but not least on the Star Wars slate, guys, Star Wars, a droid story. It'll be a new droid character, a new hero's journey for a droid, and he'll be guided by none other than the legends themselves, C-3PO and R2-D2. So that's definitely gonna be one for the kids. That's 22 minutes of talking about what I think we touched on almost 15, 16 different things, and that's the nerdgasm that Disney threw at us on Friday the 11th of December. And that will be a day that lives in infamy for a while to come. There's so much. I cannot wait for all of it. And as usual, fellas, ladies, as we learn what's going on with each and every moment of these particular items that we talked about today, we will share them with you. I got nothing after that. It's just amazing. David Tennant fan, I hope his droid character shows up somewhere. Yeah, right? Because he has got a droid character that he voices, the lightsaber construction droid that helps the Padawan design their lightsabers. I thought that was a great character, and he's in for a couple of episodes in Clone Wars. And Elizabeth got the game for her PC, but do have a controller, so hopefully I'll be able to play it okay. I tried it with keyboard and mouse, and let me tell you, I gave up. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Uncle, but it was a beautiful game. Fallen Order is a visually stunning game, and the reviews on it are huge. So there's a lot of people who are incredibly happy with it. Do you guys have any questions for us? Anything you want us to look into? I know Disney doesn't own Doctor Who, so I don't have any Doctor Who announcements at the moment, I'm sorry to say. Andy Mertzke goes on to say, for what it's worth, Kevin Smith updated his MOTU project the other day. Apparently the first episode is almost locked. That's awesome. And Elizabeth says, I bought the controller because keyboard mouse does not work for Fall Guys. That's true. That is very, very true. A thing that I learned, unfortunately, the hard way. At this point, you know what? We're just going to jump right into birthdays. We're going to say happy birthday to a few people, and then I'm going to go take a breath and relax for a little bit. Oh, Masters of the Universe, thank you. That's what I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. I just, I'm in the Star Wars zone at the moment. All right, so today, the late Thuy Trang, the original Yellow Ranger from Power Rangers, she would have been having a birthday today if she were still with us. Unfortunately, she's not. Young actor Jackson Rathbone from the, I believe he was in the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series, as well as Twilight. Tomorrow, we will be saying happy birthday to Camilla Luddington, Erica Tham, and Daredevil himself, Charlie Cox. On the 16th, Cliff Robinson from Survivor Cagayan and actress Anna Popplewell will be having a birthday. On 17th, Thursday, Sarah Paulson, Eugene Levy, Mila Jovovich, and Duff Goldman all celebrating another trip around the sun. On Friday, we got a couple of big ones, guys. Steven Spielberg on the 18th, Brad Pitt, Keith Richards, the immortal, undying Lich King himself, Keith Richards, and legendary actor Ray Liotta. This weekend, got a couple of 80s heartthrobs coming up. Alyssa Milano on board for a birthday on the 19th. And on the 20th, Jonah Hill, Dick Wolf, and if you were still with us, Bob Marley. 3 little birds are on my doorstep, singing sweet song. Music so pure and true. This is my message to you. I don't have a tagline for today. I remember last week I had the whole, Pippin going to a bed and breakfast kind of a thing. It just dawned on me. I don't have another one today. It's probably for the best. So I'm going to let you guys go at this point. So we will be back one more time this year. We've got a podcast coming. I'm assuming James has got a blog for tomorrow. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it, but I know he sent some pictures to Dan. So check out Patreon for James's blog tomorrow. Podcast coming out, Monkey Business, coming out on Wednesday. And then Joystick Journeys will be coming out on Thursday. But the Nerd World News, one more run for 2020. That will be in 1 week from today. And then we'll be taking our Christmas break and regrouping and getting ourselves ready for 2021. So as always, kids, have a great week. Have a safe week. And we will talk to you again next week. For my buddy Chris, I am Dan. You guys take care.